Hello, and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News Channel. Today we're going to talk about another 100x strategy. It's a very risky one, but then most 100x strategies are very risky. You're not really going to get 100x returns without actually taking some risk in this market. The market has changed from a few years ago. It is a little more mature, and the biggest cryptocurrencies are worth enough where it's going to be extremely hard to 100x, within a short amount of time. Yeah, you probably could do it over 10, 20 years. And if you are in for the long haul, 10 or 20 years, then putting money in Bitcoin or Ethereum or XRP is a good strategy. But if you don't want to wait for decades, you might need to take up the risk a little. Now, if you are an emotional trader and you get tied to your precious coin, I would not do any of these strategies, because you are likely to have a heart attack and kill yourself. Because seriously, if you have emotional swings and get attached to your coin, taking giant risks is not for you, because that emotion will make you make a lot of stupid decisions if you easily get married to a coin. Now, one other way you could do this, like I said, is do Bitcoin leverage trading, margins, and leverage that, and you can get massive returns. But obviously, if the market goes the other way and you bet wrong, you also can have massive losses, and you can lose your money easily because of that. I actually don't know if that's actually a easier strategy than this one, or a safer strategy than this one. I would think no, but it is also less work than this strategy, which is looking outside the top 50 or even the top 100, going to the bottom of the barrel and spreading your money out in 20 or 30 possible gems. Now, there is a lot of research to do this one. It's not just like finding a specific leverage point on Bitcoin and hoping the market goes your way and doing that leverage strategy. You do have to research a lot of smaller coins and find the ones with sense of rumors that actually might be big. Now, there's a couple of things that you should know coming in, and that's a realistic price per coin. Generally, you have to look at the total supply of a coin uh, before you project a market price. Like if you have, say, 100 billion coins and you buy like 1,000 of them, you're probably not going to get rich off of it, because generally the coins that have a greater supply have a much lower price per coin, even when they come up. So what you're really looking for a chance, those diamonds in the rough, is for coins with fairly small circulating supplies that aren't worth very much right now, and they'll be very, very low in market cap. And those are the ones that have time to actually come up. So you would actually have to go check the circulating supply, sort by circulating supply on something like CMC, and then check their total supply. Make sure they're not just going to dump a bunch later. And then look for low value circulating supply coins that have a low circulating supply to actually maybe try to get rich off of one of those. Now, it is a complete crap shot, and that's why I'm saying that if you take this strategy, you need to diversify in maybe like 20, 30 coins, maybe throw $100, $200 in each of them. Instead of pouring like, $6,000 into Ethereum or XRP, which I think will get you gains in the long run, but won't get you huge gains in the same amount of time that some of these might. Now, note that you will actually lose out on a lot, if not most, of these coins that you invest in, or they just won't go anywhere and you'll have a hard time getting rid of them. But you're depending on maybe the 10%, 5% you get right to pull up the rest of them, because when you get that 5 or 10% right, they will pull you up 100x or possibly even more. And I'm talking about coins like QNT. I'm talking about coins like QNT, Agrita, Thorcoin, perhaps Grin and Beam later, not right now, but maybe later. Nexo, which only has a billion supply. Bezant, which people have been really bullish on. I don't really know that much about Bezant, but people seem to be extremely bullish on it, and it could have a lot of potential. Phantom, which I'm personally not very bullish on, but I know a lot of other people seem to ask a lot about it and bullish on. And things like Kyber Network, a well-established exchange, small total supply, and if it actually blows up, it can go to, if it actually blows up and the decentralized network gets a lot of use, or the nodes get a lot of use, can go to several dollars. So you have to have a more realistic expectation. You can't expect your small coin to achieve trillions or tens of trillions in market cap. That's probably not going to happen. You're probably looking, if you're betting on this, you're probably looking to sell out at a point in the most likely in the hundreds of millions market cap. Once it reaches about 100, 200 million in market cap, maybe 3, 400 million market cap, that's when you sell and try to find a different gem. So basically, that's basically like investing in quant when it's at 27 cents and then riding it up to $10 and then selling right there. So once the market cap reaches maybe I would say like 300 million, 200 million, that's when you have to execute the sale, get out of that investment and look for another gem. If you can hop between a couple of these and you're successful, you can make a lot of money. And I think you'll make that money faster than if you just pump $6,000 into Ethereum, Bitcoin, or XRP, because these have much greater rates of return. Sometimes you do have to be patient because quant basically took from August until July this year, almost a year, to get from 20 cents to $15. Although if you bought last August and you sold any time along the line, you would have made quite a bit of money on ROI as well. So you wouldn't be like crying. You might regret selling too early, but you really wouldn't be crying all the way to the bank, because let's say you sold in February, still be at $4.40, 27-cent investment, almost 15, 20x, much better investment than Bitcoin over the same amount of time. So, but let's take a look at quant. Only a $14 million supply. That's why I believe this price can actually get into the hundreds, and I still think quant's a fairly bullish trajectory for right now. Will it actually go 500x again? No, it probably won't go 500x again. I highly doubt that it will. I don't think it has that kind of ability, but I think it can go like 10, 20x again, sure, and get into the billions per market cap. So quant still might be a really good pickup right now, but in terms of ROI, most of it actually has been achieved going from 20 cents to $15. Agrita is another one. I don't really understand this whole HTML5 blockchain thing, but you can see I definitely wouldn't buy Agrita right now because it's gone up so much in such a short amount of time. But it's basically 80x in the last few weeks. And I don't really know about the partnerships, but there's a lot of rumors swirling on Agrita. I think the starter is one of the top Adobe guys. So if you actually caught whiff of it, 2 months ago and bought in, you would be rich right now. If you threw in $200 in Agrita 2 months ago, 80x, you would have $16,000. And those are the kind of gains you're looking for these small coins. Now, Agrita is not going to get to $12, $15 like quant will, because there's 8 billion supply. There's actually 8 billion in supply. So even on a speculative rise, it's not going to have the same price as a coin that has 14 million supply, because it's almost 1,000 times the supply. That's basic supply and demand. You look at another coin like Thor coin, and this is one of the most incredible things. It went up from 30 cents all the way to $1,000, but you have to look that it only has 100,000 supply. So something with like 20 billion supply is not going to go up to $1,700 all of a sudden. So from both Quant and Thor coin, we can actually see that the coins with small, very limited supplies generally always have a bigger price when they rise up than coins with larger supplies. Grid and Beam, 15 million supply, although it doesn't have a total, so I'm not really sure how much it'll increase, but in the near future, you could see a fairly large pump of Grid and Beam. I think this can easily get to $10, $20 in a bull run, or if it just has some kind of amazing news or partnership for Grid and Beam. I'm not really sure about the logo, not really into that stuff, but if you look at this, you can easily see $10, $20 on such a small circulating supply if it has a big partnership or rumors of announcement. Nexo, I think, is probably undervalued as well because it's a lending platform that actually a decent amount of people use. And if it takes over the lending platform category, the market cap can reach into the hundreds of millions or billions, which would give you 20 or 30x. A billion supply of Nexo, that doesn't preclude it from getting to $3, $4, which would be a 40x return. So I'm not really suggesting that these are the specific ones you should invest in. But I'm saying, like, when you do research, keep these things in mind, like how much development they've done, look at their team, and what rumors of partnerships do they actually have for these small market cap coins, because they're the ones that can actually blow up to several hundred million in market cap fairly quickly. And instead of waiting for Ethereum or XRP to go from tens of billions to trillions of dollars, which probably will take several years if it ever gets there. I mean, going from 55 million to 550 million is not nearly as big of a jump because it doesn't involve like transforming the entire economy, which is a hard thing to do, and it takes a very long time to do. Bezant, Phantom, Kyber, especially Kyber. I think Kyber can actually get really big. The total supply is fairly small. It's not like Quant where it's only 14 million. It's 214 million. But compared to some of the other big coins that we've seen out there with billions of supply, this is actually a small supply. And with a 214 million supply, even if this went to like $10, you're talking about a $2 billion market cap, which honestly probably wouldn't even put it in the top 20 in a bull run. So, if you look at a $2 billion supply, that's $10, and that's 50x what you're putting in right now. So for those kind of gains, you should look at stuff like this. Now, you might have to wait for like the peak of a peak of a bull run to get that. But even at the peak of a bull run, when you're getting 50, 100x off these smaller coins, it'll be a much bigger multiplier than like the top 5, top 6 coins, just because you don't have to have nearly as much money put into these coins to pump them up that much. Now, all these are dependent on retail speculative FOMO. Institutional investment is not going to go into these small coins, but they're much more easily pumped than the large coins. So once again, look for coins that have some news or rumors of news that are fairly cheap right now in the 10, 20 cent, maybe 30 cent range, that have a low circulating supply. If you can find a coin that only has a couple of million supply, 30 cents right now, and has rumors of news or some news, then that might be a gem. That might be worth throwing $100 or $200 at. Remember, you will probably lose more than half of these gambles you take, because you're basically spinning the roulette wheel and betting on double zero or double zero. But if you hit one of them, even if you hit one of them, it'll make the money from all the investments back plus some more. And I think if you follow the template that I just said, you won't. Most of those things won't go to zero so fast, and you'll hit one or two lucky ones before a lot of them go to zero, and you will make more money off of that than just trying to buy and hold in the top 10 coins. Now, I don't recommend you do this with all your money, but maybe maybe like separate out part of your stack to actually invest in these really risky coins outside the top 100. Do a lot of research in them. Look for those gems, and even if you hit even if you invest in say 30 of them, you hit 2 or 3, you will get several times your money back, and probably faster than getting money in the really large coins, because they have limited potential for ROI because they are already so large. I mean, it's the same reason why Amazon went up to 10 million, from 10 million to 10 billion extremely fast in terms of value, but then it took another 20 years to get to 1 trillion. Once you hit a certain value, economic factors come into play, and it just takes a lot more money to pump the price up. So I would say a good strategy with at least part of your money is to do a lot of research into these smaller coins. Look for coins with small total supplies that are in the millions or hundreds of millions, that are worth a couple of cents, maybe tens of cents, and buy into those, and hope that news actually triggers a bull run or some FOMO, or the team just pumps it itself. And I've given a couple of examples like Quant, Agrita, Thorcoin, that have come up extremely fast. And if you can hit one of those, just imagine you put like $20 into Thorcoin, it's 30 cents each. Now you have 500 Thorcoins. Now they're $1,000 each. Now that $200 investment has become $50,000, $60,000, and that's really what you're looking for. Well, actually, it'd be more than $50,000, $60,000. You have a couple hundred. You'd have like that $200 would become $500,000, and you would have to do a very slow withdrawal plan, obviously, over something like that. But those are the kind of gains you're looking for. Hang on to them until you get 50, 60, 70x gains, and just hitting one of them will make up for all the rest of your losses, plus a couple of multipliers on that. So that is today's episode. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you, and have a nice day.